dated Executive Order 20-53 dated July 10, 2020. The Cumberland School Committee intends to conduct this meeting remotely. The public can participate in this meeting remotely, but not in person, by calling 301-715-8592, or webinar ID is 924-5297-3659, or you can join at the HTTP address listed on our agenda and also found on the district website, where the password is 678005. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, which is in compliance with Governor Gina Raimondo's Executive Order 20-53 as stated earlier. Pleasure of the committee.
Motion to approve.
Mr. DeMonica makes a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bernardo. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 3-0. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, 6:25 and 7:16. These are tabled. They've been sitting on my drive, and I apologize. They have not been uploaded. I didn't realize until 3:45, so they'll be done first thing in the morning. So we're going to table that. Next item on the agenda, discussion and/or vote to approve resolution SC-PR-8-2020-12, which is a high school security initiatives. Mr. Prignano, did you want to take this one?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. And I've got both Holly Demers, who you guys know from Collier's on the Zoom, as well as Luis Torado from
Mr. Torado, welcome.
Yep. So anyhow, what I'm going to recommend tonight is that we hold off on awarding this. A couple of things came to my attention today. I guess one of them was one of the subcontractors on the that the winning bidder was using has had issues with the town of Cumberland in the past, and I guess is what the town feels has done subpar work. And so the mayor called me about that today, said he thinks it could be a concern with the town council. I'm not going to mention the vendor, but that was an issue. And that vendor had a substantial role in this, that subcontractor had a substantial role in this. And then the next closest bid to him was $30,000 more. And then also we learned also today that the company who was going to be the subcontractor on the security piece with the installing our cameras and stuff that would go with this, because our system is old and we have Chinese pots and cameras and that type of stuff. There's been some type of inability now. The government doesn't allow these security companies to work on these or install them, or I guess they forfeit the ability to do business with the federal government up to, Holly, did you say 3 years?
Yes.
Yep, up to 3 years. So that vendor has backed out right now. So I would suggest that we bid this again. We pull the security cameras, that piece of it out, maybe as an alternative. And maybe with pulling that out, we can get, that can make up for maybe the additional cost it might cost us for that lower bidder who the town has an issue with.
Mr. Prignano, what is the estimated
town that you want to
security
use.
portion?
Excuse me?
What is the estimated security portion of this
Well,
resolution?
it's all security. It was $658,000 was the bid. And that was the low bidder.
Okay. I mean, I apologize.
So what I'm suggesting is we go out to bid again, and we add the security camera piece of it as a fourth alternative.
So that's what I meant to say. What's the estimated portion of the security camera of the 658?
Holly, do you remember what that number was for just the security cameras?
Louis, do you have that from the estimate?
I don't have it, but I think that would require additional work. What our security consultant is recommending is that we switch the servers, which are Chinese made, and then that will allow us to do camera work, new camera work if we need it. So
we would add
we're going to be looking
additional
Two options.
amount of
So
work
that-
as an alternative?
That we're going to be looking at two options. One is what we were just discussing, changing out the servers and basically eliminating the rest of the camera work, which is relatively small because it just concentrates at the new visitors entrance. The other option is get a value for what it would cost to implement the whole security program at the high school, which changes out all the cameras. That package was part of the stage 2 work for the high school. So that would need to be worked out, how that financing and all that would.
Gotcha. Okay, so we can see, so this is gonna go out to bid. When do you think it'll come back in front of us, Alex?
Maybe a month, Holly?
Yes, we can turn the RFP, put it back on the street once Torado's office pulls together the new package to be
Any
bid.
questions? Anyone? Thank you, Heidi. Any questions from the committee?
I do.
Mr.
Chair.
DeMonica?
How do we tell that contractor vendor that we don't want his business? Politely.
It's difficult. It's a public bid. So actually, when the bids came in, the lowest bidder was the only one that happened to list his subs. The others hadn't. It's not a requirement. It's basically said, are you using other companies? And they can just say yes. This particular company happened to list them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known.
Okay. We can't go to the second bidder? Second lowest bidder?
We still have the issue with the security.
Okay.
Any
Okay.
I
questions
think
from?
I think
Go ahead,
the
Mr.
scope of
President.
work changes too much to just, there's two major things there that are changing. I think you'd have to bid it again.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else in the audience? Any questions at this time? Okay, moving. So I need discussion and a vote. So it's just a discussion, no vote. Discussion
Right.
regarding, next item on the agenda, discussion regarding school building ventilation systems. Mr. Prignano, did you want to take this one also?
What, the E&E?
Discussion regarding, yes, school building ventilation systems.
Sure, this was something that the superintendent and I have been looking into, Mike Chandler. And we have some concerns with some of our schools, that we're comfortable with the middle schools because if people recall, a couple of years ago with some of that health and safety money leases we had, we changed all the univents in our middle schools, and that, that the middle schools are in good shape. The elementaries, touch and go, but the high school where there's significant amount of work that needs to be done that will be in the $83 million bond. There's concerns with ventilation there. So what we want to do is have E&E come in, and what they'll come in and they will go into each school and test the percentage of those univents to see if they're working and bringing in a proper amount of airflow and that type of stuff. And based on the results they get, for example, if the results aren't that good, they'll extend the scope of number of univents they'll test, and to see just what I mean, that's one of the key things that you have that they talk about, having fresh air in the building. And so we think before we bring people back, we should have an idea of where we are with that. And so I've got a proposal from them, just came in. And they would do that work for, Bob, you got it with you, about $37,000. And if we do it, I would use the $636,000 of Corona Relief Fund money that we're getting. And I like using that money on one-time items, because what they want you to do, if you're using that for cleaning supplies or busing or employees, that you can only use that money up through December 31st, and then you have to sustain the second half of the year through your own general fund budget for those same services. So if you buy things that are kind of one-time costs, like the study would be, there'd be no there would be no sustain in that. You don't do the study a second time. So we would get out of having to add things to our budget.
Mr. Bernardo, I agree that it is a concern, especially with the events.
Yeah.
But this is for discussion. There's no vote to
No.
allocate these funds. So explain to me, are you
Well,
telling us?
we got this after the agenda was set. You know, we've been talking with E&E and they've been busy. A lot of their customers have been wanting this service. E&E, Sharon is already locked in and doing them, and Paul has a good relationship we have here with them, said that he would, you know, they've got a lot of customers, but based on
I understand. I just don't think, I
I
understand. I just don't think that we can approve this without having a vote for it.
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah, so
We can have a vote for it and stuff like that. We can schedule
Bernardo?
something. I just got it in.
Okay,
If
so you're
people,
just telling us, okay.
the superintendent and I feel it's something worth doing, if you also do, we'll pursue it further and we'll get it on, even if we have a special meeting just to approve this, if we don't want to wait
Let's get
2
a
weeks
special meeting and
to
get it
this
on,
work
but
going.
Mrs. Bernardo first and then Mr. Mitchell. Go ahead, Mrs. Bernardo.
Just so, we have a meeting next Thursday. We could also add another one if we needed to, but would would that give enough time if it was next Thursday or
Absolutely.
early next week? Shouldn't be a
Yeah,
problem. We'll still give them enough time to evaluate.
yeah, I don't think the E&E I don't think E&E expected us to call them tomorrow and tell them to get to work immediately, but
Okay.
if
And-
okay, Cumberland seems interested, and he allows time in their work schedule for us.
Right. And
I
does
gotcha.
that cost, is that evaluating all the schools or was that just the high school?
All the schools.
Mr. Mitchell, you're on mute.
Is all of them? Okay.
We may be able to get this down because I'm saying we don't think you need to do the middle schools. We know all those unit events are brand new. So maybe we can bring
Okay.
the price down a
Mr.
little
Mitchell,
bit.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, I think everyone understands, how important this is. And as you may recall, in one of the meetings that we had, there were a number of individuals that have questions. And one, in fact, I remember specifically that it was Michelle McIntosh, a high school special education teacher who asked that question. And I think that was, we had been talking about it or giving it some thought, but people are really sensitive, understandably, about this sort of thing, anything that has anything to do with airflow and
Sure. No, I agree.
Let's
Get it on the agenda. Let's get it on the agenda for a vote. And I know E&E is on the master bid list, correct, with the state? So there's ways
Yep.
to go about it.
They just got on that. I will send out the copy of the letter I received from Paul Murphy to everyone tomorrow so they can see exactly what the scope would be.
Excellent. All right. Sounds great. Let me just make a note. Next item on the agenda, public comment. Mr. Chandler, do we have any call-ins, any hands, any notifications? Anyone would like to speak? Anyone on the screen?
I have
Mr.
a
Collins?
question. I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mrs. Friedman.
With all of the uncertainty about what exactly we will be doing in a couple of weeks and opening the schools and lots of budgetary implications with every option that's out there, what are our plans for how we're going to evaluate all the budgetary concerns in totality? What I worry about is that we look at things kind of one at a time and we don't have the whole big picture yet of what we're going to need to do.
Good point.
And how, you look at what we're considering now for the virtual learning and potentially having to add staff to support that. And we look at what we need to do to get the buildings ready. And we look at all of these different things. Well, how are we going to tackle this?
Well, have you seen the handout that I want to walk you through tonight?
Oh, maybe not.
There's some information there.
which I think we've tried to cover as much of the things that we need to.
Yeah. Okay, so, Mr. Mitchell, do you feel that this document is going to fulfill an answer for this committee and Mrs. Friedman? Can we discuss this later?
Well, I think it will definitely help.
Okay.
There is still a lot of uncertainty, no question about it, right? I mean, we still don't know what's going to happen with the number of students that don't want to return to school, and we'll be on some sort of a virtual plan that we are in the process of developing. We don't know how many teachers are going to be out, and that number seems to be increasing almost on a daily basis. So it is fluid, but we're starting to, in this document that was shared with you today, will give you some sense of how we are planning to spend the money and where we are financially.
Mrs. Friedman, is that okay? And we'll talk about the document later?
Sure.
Thank
Yep.
you. Thank you very much. Any other discussion, concerns, public comment? I'm sorry, Mr. Collins, did you have your hand up when I switched back? I thought I saw you. raise your
No,
hand.
I did not.
No, okay.
No, thank you,
All right,
though.
no problem. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is to adjourn. Pleasure of the committee.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. DeMonica makes a motion to adjourn, second by
Second.
Mrs.
Aren't
Bernardo.
we going through this
All in-
report? Ray, aren't we going through this report under business managers?
It's not on here. It's not on here, Mr. Brignano.
The business managers reports aren't on there?
I was wondering why.
Yeah,
That's
they
a
did
staple.
not-
It's always on.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda, Alex.
It's not on the agenda.
I've never seen an agenda that didn't include it. We can do it at a
I thought
regular,
was a
is it
little
on the
weird too,
regular
because
committee?
I have it in front of me. Let's put it under public comment unless anyone disagrees.
I disagree.
Okay,
This is not a regular fiscal meeting. This is a special meeting. Won't we be doing this next Thursday?
no, this is a regular fiscal management subcommittee meeting.
Okay.
But I respect that. I'm all big. I'm on. If it's on the agenda, we don't talk about it. So, Mr. Brignano, let's skip it.
I mean,
Is it on the regular meeting, Bob?
No.
Next Thursday is our regularly scheduled meeting.
Yeah, this is a regular fiscal management subcommittee meeting. For some reason, it got deleted off the agenda.
Well, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Mitchell.
it is a regular fiscal subcommittee meeting, but this is a special meeting, and this is really essentially a special fiscal meeting. We probably should have put that on there. I'm just looking at the regular meeting. I don't know that there's an opportunity. Is next Thursday too late?
Oh, it's not too late. I just want to.
I would encourage Mr. Brignano.
To
hold
know
on.
where we're heading financially.
I would encourage everyone to reach out to Mr. Brignano tomorrow or on Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday, to discuss this meeting, as I will as well. So next item on the agenda is to adjourn. Pleasure of the committee.
Motion to
We have a
adjourn.
motion by Mr. DeMonica, second by Mrs. Bernardo. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. We adjourn at 6:05. Thank you, everyone.
Louis, Holly, I'll see you later.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. Nice to see you.
You too.